Hello, welcome to my new channel. My name is John, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. And if you've not been here before, hopefully the next time I say welcome back, it could be to you. Now, I can actually say this, but last time I said it, I couldn't really say it because I was the only person who watched the videos. But I have had a viewer, whether they watched it all or 5 seconds, it doesn't matter. The fact is, somebody did look. So if you're that person, then welcome back. Okay? So, this is a spontaneous video. I've been going through my head about what subject to cover. And I thought to myself, well, as I will put certain videos into playlists, make this about a much bigger version than my previous video, which is what is considered to be an alpha male / real man. But now we're going to go further than that by putting that aside, okay? But the reason I'm saying that is because in there I did bring up about the family unit, didn't I? If you've watched it, about the family unit. My title, my video can only be a certain length, but my video will always cover a great unit of substance. So it'll be different things. So never let the title put you off, because I promise you I expand it in places that you would never imagine. So this is about family units, okay? Now, I am here to try and set you right against the system in the world that's definitely trying to set you wrong, okay? And if you don't believe that, listen to what I've got to say, then compare it to the world system, which I will tell you about, and if I'm wrong, you should easily be able to refute me. But you'll have to provide evidence, not opinions, okay? I don't offer opinions, I offer facts. I challenge anybody to challenge me on that using facts. So, family unit. That is something that the world right now is not keen on you establishing. It's not. It does not want you to have a family unit, okay? The whole system right now has gotten everybody against everybody, regardless to what it might be. So, why am I going about family unit? You have one life. One life. Birth to death. Every single thing that you do in between will be remembered by somebody. At least one person. Okay? Will it be remembered for the good, the bad, the right or the wrong? I don't know. When someone gives a speech at your funeral, and I have to bring this up, I'm very forward and stern and very honest. I say things that most people probably wouldn't want to touch on. But if somebody was giving a speech at your funeral, what would they say? We always hear, don't we, about a celebrity on TV or a crime watch where somebody was murdered and the family and friends and relatives or even a police officer who doesn't even know them. They'll come on and say the person was such and such and such and such. Well, it seems to me that every single person who's ever lost their life through outside of accidental purposes is the same. Now, I have to say this because it's a fact. Now, I know we've all thought it at some point, and most of us have, that you never hear anything negative. There was one. And that was on the Crime Watch. And I do watch these 80s Crime Watch things, how they solved the case. And there was one where police officers come out and basically told the truth about this person. But it wasn't too bad, but he did what he did. And I do believe in the concept of truth. So at your funeral, are they going to be telling a lie to make you look good, or are they going to tell you a truth that will make you look bad? Which one's it going to be? Or are they going to tell a truth? So will they tell a lie that will make you look good, or a truth that will make you look bad, or a truth that will make you look good? Because they're going to say something, people are going to be queuing up to come and get their say about you. What are they going to say about you? Now, who gives the speech at those funerals? Family. It's always family, isn't it? Family. You get the odd friend, but you get family. The most important substance you'll ever involve yourself in this world. And not just your immediate family. So what are they going to say? What are they going to say about you? What's this one person, say your partner, what's this one partner of yours? I hope it's one partner anyway. What are they going to say? You know that one that chose you out of 7 billion people in the world, discarded children and whatever. But you know what I mean. I mean, if you ever think that you've never beaten the odds and you think that you've never hit the jackpot just because your numbers didn't come up, I want you to look over to your partner and understand one thing, regardless whether they're attractive or not. If you could accept them as a partner, then there were other people that would accept them as a partner, even if they're not considered to be attractive or whatever. If one person can, many people can. But you got them. You got them. Regardless how they might be today, when you were together or when you got to know each other, they might have been that great, lovely person, yada, 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 okay? But they chose you. Out of all the people that they could have chosen, not that everybody's got a choice, but you know what I mean? They still chose you. So, do you feel honoured? Regardless how they might be today, they might be a completely different person, a right you know what, but then, when they were someone different, maybe it was a false persona, or it was they just changed character as they went along. They chose you. How honoured do you feel that they chose you out of all the people? But then that goes vice versa as well. Do they show you how honoured they feel that you chose them? Do they? Because it all depends on how you feel towards them. As if they leave the world tomorrow, how you speak about them in that pulpit. The truth or the lie, either one, to make them look good, because you wouldn't dare say something bad. But would they? Are they going to say something bad about you, or would you be saying something bad about them? If there is something that you would say bad about them because it was the truth, maybe you should sit down and say to them, do you know what? If I told the truth at a funeral of yours tomorrow about you, this is what I would say. And I'm not going to lie, so you better start writing a different storyline for us before we get to that point. Write a storyline for your partner to the point where you know if they spoke the truth about you at your funeral, everybody would be wondered and amazed, and they would be jealous. Do you hear what I'm saying? Have you ever heard anything like that before? If you watch this a few times, that's not clickbait. It's not, because sometimes you do have to hear something over and over to let it sink in. I have to. We all have to. We watch a film and watch it how many times, and we suddenly start noticing new things. But the first time around, it didn't seem to make any sense, and we put it down as a pile of garbage. But then we realise all the little hidden messages in there that our eyes or ears did not catch. So, what are they going to be saying about you? Okay? Remember, this is a family unit. A family unit. How steady is your family unit? Is it as steady as the day that it begun? Because a family unit doesn't begin the moment that you decide that you're actually officially together. It starts, believe it or not, that the moment you discover that you are actually attracted to one another, because that's when your journey starts. Because you find that you're attracted to one another, but you're not sure whether to say something, because you're not sure whether they're feeling something towards you, and it can be a bit awkward or embarrassing. So you sort of like do it subtly, and you're both doing it subtly, only to find out one day that at the same time you were both heading towards one another, and it was all that wasted time in between that you could have shared even longer than you did, because neither of you had the courage to own up to the other person. So that's called honesty. When you're attracted to somebody, you honest to them. You want to say, look, I'm attracted to you, or do you pussyfoot around, tiptoeing, hoping that something will eventually establish without you actually having to make an effort for them? Because if that is the way, then that's obviously the way you're meaning to start as you go on. Because in a successful relationship, you can't afford to be pussyfooting around and tiggly under there and softly. You've got to be honest and outright and forward with your partner in all things. So you should start as you mean to go on and say, look, I'm attracted to you. This is how I see you. This is how I feel towards you. Okay. Now, if you don't feel the same way, absolutely fine. But I just want to be honest. So all that time wasted. All that time. At least you'll know where you stand if they reject you. And if they do feel the same, then you've got more time together than ever before. And at least then both of you will know that you are actually very forward and honest and you don't hold back, which is a good sign for the future. Which is why your journey starts then, because you're already telling each other about the other. You're telling something to them about you. And that's where the journey starts. Because it's all about, well, are you the kind of person I want to be like? I'm sorry to say that's relatively not the case anymore, because it is just literally, you look good, that'll do me. Let me tell you something, a quick note. I'm going to go on about this, because this will be for another video. Somebody who looks nice and has a full bank account and a flashy car, all these things that are momentary can be gone like that, will not determine whether their fist goes in your face or not. It will not determine if their man meat goes into somebody else or not, and vice versa. It does not determine if they're lazy, greedy and selfish, okay? It does not determine whether they're a liar and they're holding a secret life behind. They're holding a secret life away from you, whether it could be a drug dealer, another family, anything that you can imagine. It doesn't determine any of that, and it will diminish. Money gets spent, cars rot, and people age and decay. So if you are seriously going for looks alone, then you've already set your demise. That's a fact. That's a fact. And it's a fact that if you really are after the flesh, then no amount of flesh will satisfy you, and you will cheat, because you will be attracted to other people. Even if it's just looking, and you shouldn't even do that. All this garbage you can look but don't touch, garbage. You choose who is the one for you. By looking at others, you're still saying that you are not enough for my eyes. I still desire other things, even if I don't touch. It's not on. It's not on. No, I've not been with a woman for 7.5 years. I don't keep any company of any sorts in any way, shape or form. So I'm in a very good position to sit here and say this. So, family unit. What does a family unit consist of? Well, most people believe it consists of a mother, a woman and a man, a man and a man, a woman and a woman. No, it doesn't. It consists of children. But you wouldn't think that by looking at people. You wouldn't think that. Now, your child is your child. That is your flesh and your blood. Either way, it's your flesh and your blood, okay? So, why is it we see couples being greater to one another than we see parents being to their children? So we've got a mum and a dad, or whatever, dad and a dad, mum and a mum, either way, and we see them all loved up, okay? But then when it comes to the children, it's like, shut up, go away, don't want to hear, go and sit down, leave that alone, drop this, drop that, do this, do that. All the while, you yourself are actually doing things that you know as an adult you shouldn't be doing. But yet, we say this to the children. But children literally now are just brought up, most cases, not all, just brought up. Well, I put clothes in their back, I put food in their mouth, I provide a bed and gas and electric, and I pick them up and drop them off from school and give them a bit of pocket money once a week. I'm a good parent. Really? Really? Nobody is a good parent. There's always room for improvement. I'm not a good parent at all. There's always room for improvement. But that child of yours is your flesh and blood. Well, not in all cases. But if you're better to your partner than you are your child, how's that a family unit? Because it's not a unit, is it? Because there's a unit partner, but the children are just there, they exist, and you go through the motions for their existence, to preserve their existence, and that's it. So how's that a family unit? Do you know what a unit is? A family unit is something that's all in one, that's combined, that separates itself from the outside. That's what a family unit is. Your family unit, oh? When your partner wants to talk to you, do you listen? Chances are you do. Some of you don't, do you? But what about if your child wants to talk to you? Is it just they're a child, they don't really have anything sensible to say, they've got nothing to say that I want to hear, it's all Lady Gaga? Well then, still listen. Still listen. You can't expect a child to come up to your level in order to have a conversation. You've got to take yourself down to theirs. That's the whole point. You're mature, they're immature. If you're waiting for them to grow up and become your level before you actually have a conversation and listen to anything they've got to say, you're going to be waiting a very long time. Especially the fact that you never listen to them, because what kind of example is that? Because if you're not listening to them, and there's other areas you're failing, and what kind of person they're going to grow up? What kind of conversations are they going to be wanting to spark off? So you think about it. I always have a cup of soup when I'm on the go. So, family unit. You are all one. You're all equal. You are equal. You're all equal. That child is just as equal as you. Your partner's just as equal to you, and you're just as equal to your partner. You've established that unit, and you have verbally, by verbal contract, by accepting one another, you have separated yourself from the outside world as far as what you consider to be valuable and important to you. It is. Because you can't say to a partnership, you are my partnership, these are my children, but I will treat you equally to the same as everybody else out there. Friends and family, and immediate family. You can't do that. You can't do that. Because that's not the way that it works. And independency is when you leave one family, which is your immediate family, and you start your own. And you become a part of something that you were once over here. But here you was the child, now you're the adult. So you put yourself into that. They are the people who come first at all time, every time, no exceptions, unless they give you reason to. Unless they give you reason to. So when I say no exceptions, there are very few exceptions, unless they give you reason to. You don't put up with anybody's naughty shenanigans if it's outside of humour, okay? You just don't do that. So, there's your partner, marriage or otherwise, and there's the children, okay? So, if you're all placing yourself as equal as one another, okay, or you're claiming to place yourself equal as one another, but one person's getting more than the rest, how does that work? How's that going for you? So you're the kind of person that, let's just say you're into cannabis. I'm not going to lecture on it because there are worse things. So, if that's what you're doing and nothing else, diggity boo. But let's just say you're into cannabis and you're spending £20 on cannabis, right? And you say to your partner, just about to go on the balcony and have a joint. And your partner says, oh, okay, no problem. But they're not in agreement with it. They don't do it, but they let you do it because they know that's what you're into. And so they say, well, sacrifice has got to be made. It's not the worst thing in the world. Although you'll stink to hell of heaven. Your children stink of it, your house will stink of it, your wife will stink of it, or whoever. Okay, so that's terrible. But you go out and you smoke it. What's going on here? What's going on? That's £20 and only one of you is receiving any pleasure and entertainment. out of spending all that £20? Is your partner, are they getting £20 to go and spend on what they want? Are they getting that? How about the children? Do they get £20 each to go and spend on what they want for their leisures and pleasures, whether you agree with it or not, whether you are part of it or not, whether they're doing it by themselves? Do they get that? Are everyone getting fair and equal? Are they? You sure? You sure? You see, your partner's making a sacrifice against something that they do not agree with, but because they love you, and it is love, because only somebody who actually loves you will put up with that, especially the fact that it's costing £20 and they're not getting anything out of it, but they still do it. But for that £20 that you're spending on this, where you alone are getting something out of it, and they do actually some, because of the smell, then your state of mind and everything else, and then you're not doing the housework, you're not contributing to this, that and the other, because you're so stoned out of your face, okay? So, is that fair? But what if you took that money and you said, you know what, I'm not going out on the balcony to get stoned tonight because I'm not buying any cannabis. I'm going to take that £20 and I'm going to take you out down to the pictures. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a memory. We're going to create a memory, but so it's not just a memory here, we'll take pictures and photographs, videos of this memory. So we can look back on it one day, because you can hardly go out on the balcony and start taking pictures and videos of you smoking a joint and put it on Facebook and share it as a memory of a year's time and say, look how happy this family is. What kind of family unit are you advertising there? You're not. But if you take them out, that's one extra memory that you've got to look back on. So if there's times of trouble, okay, and you're distancing apart and you want to remind each other of how it used to be, you can go to those and you can smile and laugh and see how it used to be and say, if we had it once, we can have it again. But if he's out on the balcony with that £20, he or she on that balcony, £20 worth of ganja, and he's smoking away, and you do take pictures and videos of that and you put it in the album, when it comes to the time of you drifting, and you go back looking at memories, that's just going to ruin it even more. So something you do here is a life jacket for something that you might need way down the line that's unforeseen that you couldn't imagine right now. Where's your memory when you're out on that balcony compared when you're out with your missus? But then you've got the family unit, haven't you? Because you can't just go out and do that and then the children get nothing. Now, you may not always be able to give equal to the children. Children are easily pleased, and sometimes just a lolly and a small toy worth a few quid can keep them happy, no problem. Not everybody's got, and you do as parents deserve that time out to go and treat yourselves together. Because if you're not doing it together, then you've got no chance. And don't believe that going to a pub or a club is doing something together, because it's not. Because by the time you get there, you've gone through the door together, but eventually you will separate. And you start talking to other people, so you might as well have just gone by yourself. All you've done is complete the same journey in the same car, the same cab, and then once you've gone in there, you've gone separate. So how about doing something together? That's why a restaurant and a cinema and things like that, where it's just literally going to be you two. Because without communication, there's nothing. But when you go to pubs and clubs, your communication is very rarely with them, it's to everybody else. Because you're meeting your friends or your family and things like that, okay? Have you ever heard anything like this before? No, you haven't. Do you care? I have no idea. If I didn't care about whether you cared, I wouldn't be making a video. So, all this money that you could be spending, you know, you're spending on ganja, alcohol and everything else and blah, blah, you're having your mates over for the weekend, you're having that bottle party. Nothing wrong with doing that once in a while, as long as your children are somewhere safe and not in that house. You shouldn't be letting anybody. If you've got a family get together and have a drink, it's family. But when you've got friends coming in and they're smacked out of their face and you know full well that your friends aren't quite so kosher when they've had a few down them or a bit of this, then your children should not be in that house. Because you've got no idea what being under the influence can make that person do or think. You have no idea. They're going to create a dangerous situation, even if they don't go anywhere near your children. They create a dangerous situation that your children might be involved in or they might witness. If you want that for your child, you are to provide a safe haven for your children. Now, my daughter said something about worst death was burning to death. I went straight online, bought a fire extinguisher, a fire blanket, an oxygen tank with a thingy bob, all sorts of stuff, and a torch. I just gave it to her, all of her. Straight away. But shame on me for needing to be told. Shame on me that I didn't think of that before she said it. Would you do that? You said you need to do that for your children, and you told them to put it somewhere safe that they can get to at any time. The downstairs you can relatively get out. Upstairs it needs to be somewhere where they can get it at all times. Teach your children that, okay? So, are you taking outside advice from your friends and family towards situations that are going on within your so-called family unit? And I say so-called because if you are seeking advice outside for your so-called family unit, then it is a so-called family unit, because it's not a family unit. Because you're now going outside to other people to discuss things that are going on inside your home, which you should not do unless it's in a positive light. So if you're going off to saying something, my man's doing this and my man's doing that, my woman's doing this and my woman's doing that, then what have you achieved? What you've got is the people you're talking to have only got one side of the story, because they've only got one side, and they do like that bit of drama queen about them, they're going to stick with you. And they're going to say, oh, you poor soul, blah, 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 this person's this and this person's that, and they're going to put your partner down. They're putting down your partner, and you're giving them every bit of fuel to throw on the fire for them to do so. So you're responsible for your partner receiving negative insults. Is that what you're about with your partner? Is that what you're about? You're responsible for your partner being insulted, yeah? Oh, do your partnership is that you're one, and you protect and serve that person in every way that you can. That's the point of it. So if you're going out and you're encouraging people to actually think negative and say negative things about your partner, with all due respect, you don't deserve your partner, unless it's abuse. Do you know what I mean? There are some segregations there. But if it's just in general because of falling outs, laziness, won't do this, won't do that, arguing, whatever, or watching what he wants on TV, how have you resolved the situation by going to an outside influence? You haven't. You've given them everything they need to tell you that you made a mistake and you should leave them and come back to them. Because we're not the girlies and the boys alike. They don't want their best mates in partnerships because they stop going out less. They spend less time with their mates. So they get jealous. They want to do everything they can to get everything back to the way that it used to be, where it's all boys and all girls together. You're not doing your family any favours. You go straight to the source and straight to the problem, and you tell them about it. You tell them about it. So then we're getting back to what we said in the beginning about being straightforward and honest. If you're not straightforward and honest, and all that time in between where you're not resolving the situation has all gone to waste, where you could have just literally fixed it straight away. And you can say to your partner, look, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm seeing it. If you can't trust your partner enough to go and do that, then what kind of relationship have you got if there's no trust? You should always allow your partner to feel that if you are doing something wrong, they can come to you and talk to you personally. There'll be no negative shenanigans about it. They'll listen, and you can talk. And you say that from the beginning, even when the garden is rosy. You say, look, if it ever gets like this, please don't go to such and such. Come to me alone. I don't want to hear Chinese whispers. I don't want to hear rumours spread about me around town. Because if you think that your friends and such like are going to keep that to themselves, you've got to be kidding. As soon as you're out that door, as soon as you go to them in the house, they are on their phone telling everybody about it. And then suddenly, your business is their business. And all of a sudden, your partner's public enemy number one. They're getting dirty looks in the street and they've got no idea why, because it does happen. It's a family unit where you separate yourself from the world. You hold one another in a higher light than anybody else in the world, and that is your responsibility. Otherwise, what's the point? When you get in a relationship, are you in that relationship for life? One-on-one for life? Because if you're chosen by image or bank account and cars and houses, you've already set the date of your demise, and any good thing that you go through, from the time you get together to the time you end, will not be worth the shenanigans that's going to happen at the end, especially if you've got kids, and there's divorce and custody battles and all of that lot, because you just went for all the wrong substance, and all those substances suddenly run dry and the river was bare. So if that's, you've got no chance. But if you are one-on-one for life, okay, how are you going to do that one-on-one when everybody else is getting involved and you're involving them? One-on-one for life. Can you do that? Are you really there when you establish one another at the beginning? Were you really thinking to yourself in your heart, this is for life. I want this for life. I feel so much towards this that I can't even imagine there ever being anything else that I could desire in anybody other than this person. Is that you? Is that you? I don't know. I don't know you. But is it? If it's not, then again I will repeat, the date and the very time for your demise has already been set. You just got to get from A to Z to get there. And I say A to Z, not A to B, because Z is the very end, which is what it will be. It will be the very, very end. You go to A to B, you can suddenly start again and continue. But if it's not one-on-one for life, it's going to end in strife and the children suffer. So before you start getting into a relationship with people saying, I want the children and blah, 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 you better establish if it's for life, because any children that you have are going to suffer. Broken homes, mum and dad fighting and arguing, or dad and dad, mum and mum, or whatever it might be. Okay, they're arguing and fighting. There's the custody case, divorce cases. You know, some people get a bit rowdy and a bit violent, and sometimes it ends up with a funeral. And I'm saying it exactly as it is. So how's your family doing right now? How's your family unit looking? How's it looking? You're sitting there communicating on your phone with each other in the same house, or maybe you're communicating with everybody else on your phone and your laptop and everything else, or your partner's sitting there waiting for you to strike up a conversation, or maybe neither of you can. You're happy talking to other people, but then the relationship's already over. It's done and dusted. You just happen to exist under the same roof, and you just happen to use each other for a bit of you know what once in a while. Your relationship's already done, because the concept of relationship, you look it up, that doesn't exist in you anymore. You're not even in a partnership at all. You just exist under the same roof. You do whatever you do once in a while, and you claim not to be doing it with anybody else, but that's about it. Okay? Or are you just sitting there watching TV, not talking to anybody and anybody? So, the art of communication solves absolutely everything. Now, when you're in public, this is one of the vital parts, when you're in public, would you represent each other? Because that's what you do with a partnership, you represent each other. How you walk and talk and how you present yourself in a public arena when you're with your partner, you actually represent them. When people look at you, they judge them. I mean, how many people do you say, how on earth did he get, oh, blind, what's she doing with him? What's he doing with her? Blah, blah, blah. You know, her with her and him with him. If you can walk through the street to the point where nobody will ever guess that you're in a partnership, you are in serious trouble. If I can walk closer to your partner without them feeling uncomfortable and it's closer to them than what you are, then you're in serious trouble. Really, I know you hear what I'm saying. If I can walk closer to them without them feeling uncomfortable and I'm still closer to them than what you are, then you are in serious trouble. But more often than not, that's because of the phone, isn't it? That phone, on that phone looking down, as most people do when they're pushing their kids for the street. Do you know how many children have been killed by pushchairs being pushed into the roads because their mum was on the phone? They never saw the curb and they just put the buggy. Do you know how many people? But the phone still exists, doesn't it? It still exists. It's just different note here. About 5 years ago, a poor girl in our town park was killed because a bouncy castle she was on floated up in the air and she died. And they banned bouncy castles, right, for that one person. I totally, do you know what I mean? But they don't ban cars, and people are killed in those every day. They don't ban smoking and alcohol and phones, yet phones kill children every single day. Alcohol kills children every single day. But they don't ban them. See the hypocrisy? See the hypocrisy? So, your public arena, when you're out there, you're a man, are you standing so close to your lady that everybody knows that you're her safeguard, you're her like security guard, but not looking at everybody aggressively, but it prevents people coming over in some sort of, you know, let's just say you're not walking together and people can't establish that you're together, and some fella might fancy his luck, or vice versa, and go and approach them to try their luck. And then you come, oh, that's my missus. Do you know, let's say, well, I didn't know. If anybody ever says to you, I didn't know that was your partner, then you really do have a problem. Especially if you're walking in the street. You're an item, you're together, you're a partnership. Everything about you from the beginning to the end, and it is possible, should just be lightning and fireworks and sparks and just joy. Personality, communication, humour, shenanigans, name calling, food fights, water fights, everything. Never let the river run dry. But most people do that within the first month. They go, oh, I've got my special one, I've got my special one. In appearance. All of a sudden, they start to realise that the persona, the mask is coming off. Because when people want somebody to be attracted to them, they put on the greatest of them. But that's always going to slip. But I don't think, well, sooner or later this will slip. Do you want to know what kind of person your so-called future partner is going to be? Do you want to know how to establish the kind of person they are? Don't judge them according to how they treat you. Judge them according to how they treat the rest of the world. Because that's the kind of person that they are. Okay? As I said in my previous video, and I'll say again. Okay? If you see somebody really nice to you, but then you see them being horrible to their sister and their children, or their brother and their mother and their dad, excuse me, which is their immediate family, or their nephews, excuse me, all you're doing is looking at your future. That is what's in store for you. So don't go by what they are at you, because if you're seeing them treat people worse than they treat you, then all you're doing, that's what's to come. That's your future. That's all that's in store for you. You've got no excuses. Because you're seeing the real them. Because no one puts up, excuse the phrase, but no one puts on an arsehole mask in order to impress them. So if you're seeing them being just that, then that's their true self. And you've been warned. So you still go with them because you're attracted and desired, and you can't help yourself and all that lot, then you get exactly what you asked for. I didn't say deserved, ask for, because you do know what's coming your way. Because he wasn't always like that to them. He was once a nice little lad, and he grew up, and all of a sudden, lad, woman, whatever. Okay, so if I say lad, it's everybody. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. So, if I say partnership, I'm not talking about man and woman. I don't want anyone saying I'm being whatever. Okay. So, public arenas, how you see them treat other people, distancing themselves from you. The moment this starts to happen, the moment you see that distance coming, not just the moment you see it, but the moment you've become accustomed to it, both of you, and you realise, well, hold up a minute, something's here wrong, but it's not bothering me anymore. I don't actually care that we don't walk together. That's the time you either sit down and have a very long chat, or you decide that maybe you should have that chat regardless. And if both of you, the rivers run dry, see if you can fix it, and if you can't, then and only then, maybe it'd be the time for you to separate or go your separate ways in a very amicable manner for the sake of any children involved. But if you are planning to have children, you are obligated to think about whether you really are for life, and sit down and talk to each other about how you think life on life means. See, I'm not going to say who they are. I know a woman, okay, and I've never told her this, and I never will. I know a woman who's on my Facebook. She says the special one, she's all loved up, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But one day I saw her partner in the shopping centre when I was doing my laundrette, absolutely verbally abusing a woman. I'm not going to say the circumstances because I don't want people jumping on the high horse about it. But he was verbally abusing from one end to the other for no reason other than something specific about her. And I just sat there and thought, I wonder what she would think if she saw this. She thinks you're this, that and the other. All this, that and the other. But if she saw this is a side that he never shows her, never showed her. And I know her, but I've never said anything because it's not for me to interfere. I'm not going to go anything. All I'm going to do is lose a friendship. She's so loved up, nothing I say is good. But if she saw his true self, how he treated the world, then she'll start to think, maybe you're not so special after all. So I have to be very careful. There's a kid involved, so I do have to be very careful. But she didn't know that. Do you know what they're treating people like when they're not around? Do you know that? Do you know that? This is a partnership. This is supposed to be one-on-one for life. If it's not, then you know that the demise is already set. So what's the point? What's the point in getting involved? Well, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of this, a bit of that. Suddenly you've got kids, and suddenly the ending to this relationship isn't going to be as easy as it used to be. See, people know children, they separate. They can go their separate ways. Most of them choose not to. They get jealous, they're spying on their partner for whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just ridiculous. But when you've got children, you're never truly apart. So you've got to learn some way to be amicable and polite, but to the point where maybe you can still sit in the same house and have a cup of tea, which is what children want. I never had that pleasure of seeing that. And I don't now. But it's nothing to do with me. So, I mean, I was married, I have a daughter, but she's 16 now, so that's unnecessary anyway. But even if they've got a new partner, can you go in and be friends with them? Can you do that? Can you do that? Really? There's a lot of questions you need to ask yourself before you get yourself involved in anything. You look at all possible case scenarios and say, can I handle this? Can I handle that? Because there are kids, and it's your future. Your entire future, you get one shot. Are you going to continue going from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, having those minimal amounts of fun in between, and then just headbutting a rock at the end? Because no relationship's worth that. I don't care how much they're worth or what they look like. I don't care. Nothing's worth the eventual demise that it leads to. Because it always got a sad, bad ending, isn't it? It's like if somebody said to you, how would you like to leave this world? You've got all these case scenarios that you don't want it to end, and then you've got all these peaceful scenarios that you do. Why couldn't the same concept with relationships? I certainly wouldn't want my relationship to end like this, that and the other. But by what you choose to do here and for the reasons you do it, determines on how it will end. And by what means and how it will carry on. You start as you mean to go on and only get better. Now, people who use the phrase honeymoon period, please excuse the phrase, retarded. Do you know what that means? It means this is the best it's ever going to be, and it's only going to go downhill from there. It can never get better. But they say that at the beginning, so they're already acknowledging that this is fake. Everything we're experiencing now is because we're on the hype of something new and exciting. But given time, it's just going to wear off. So why bother? Why bother? Well, we had this short moment at the beginning where everything was dandy. We had those great experiences. Yeah, well, what's the point? Because all you're doing is writing your pain and suffering at the end. Right at the end. And you repeat this cycle right throughout your life. Right throughout your life. I know what I'm talking about. My first relationship, for a long-term relationship was 7 years. Now, as much as lies and lies and lies and lies have been told about me, I can tell you now what I did get myself involved in there, although I did love her. I did love her, and I loved her more than anything that I was into. But my life circumstances had just left me to go absolutely gaga, and the concept of me recognising that she was going through pain didn't compute. It wasn't that I saw it and didn't care, I just didn't see that what I was doing was wrong. So I got the poor lass into solvent abuse. What kind of guy does that? Oh, that was right. I did. I got her into stealing. What kind of guy does that? Oh, I did. Yeah. I then ended up staying up watching pornography at night. Sometimes while laying next to her. No idea it was breaking her heart. I didn't think she could ill see. Arrogance, arrogance, arrogance. All I saw was what I wanted to see, and I convinced myself it to be something that I wanted it to be. No idea the pain and suffering that she was going through. And obviously it was affecting our life, you know what I mean, our life. So that wasn't helping matters at all. But all I kept seeing was she messed up, was how she got it wrong. But I wasn't concentrating on where I was getting it wrong. I didn't see it. But then came the gambling. So what about money, gambling, fruit machines, gambling. Now, I'd go home, and if I'd won, I had a problem, because, you know, I'd have to explain where I'd been all day, because I wasn't going to stop in gambling. So she might think I was having an affair, but she probably knew I was gambling anyway. And if I lost, I've got to come up with a lie about either what I'd done, or try and worm my way out of it and woo her heart. And what kind of guy does that? That's what I did. I did that, didn't I? Yeah, that was me. So, you know, and I was aggressive verbally. Smacked my children, but not. That all of a sudden I beat them, and apparently I'd done a lot worse than that, which I didn't. But I'm sitting there being honest with you. I mean, you know what I mean? So there was all of that. We were together for 7 years, and how we've done 7 years, I don't know. But she did say to me right at the end, she said more than once, although she might deny it, bless her, she did make it very clear that our time together, she did, she made it very clear. She wouldn't believe me today. If she saw me today, I don't know what she make of me. I don't know what you make of me. You don't even know me. I don't even know what I make of me. There you go, you see. So, I know what it's like. 7 years. Now, when I was married for 6 years, we were both equal disasters. We were. I mean, I was still gambling. I'm not going to say anything what she was into, but it was just as bad, if not worse, in some cases. But we weren't faithful. It was just an absolute mess. It was just convenience in the end. It was just convenient. We existed under the same roof. We both done our own thing. We were right and wrong, and that was it. So, but that's it. As far as I'm just not that guy. As far as I'm aware, by what my daughter tells me, she's not that lady anymore. She's now back with what was her second husband, and they've been together for 11 years, and it seems that everything's okay. It's not a problem. I don't associate with them, but you know, everything's turned out all right, so no problem. And she seems to have really, really learnt her lesson, so it's not a problem at all. So, what about you? Can you sit there and admit your faults? I just did, and I don't even know you. I'm not even asking you to confess them to me. But if I can confess mine to you outright of misjudgment, how much more can you go to your partner and confess yours and say, do you know what? I know this is where I'm going wrong. I know where I'm going wrong here. I recognise we've got issues, and I've established it's because I'm doing this, that and the other. But also, with you, I believe it's this, that and the other. Let's sit down, talk about it, compare notes and see what we can do. Would you do that? Not in today's world, most people won't. They just think, well, if I lose you, most of them in bed with somebody else within the same day. Really? So that mourning period, you know, how upset they are, that passed pretty quick, didn't it? So, the children, the mother, the father, the mothers, the fathers, whatever it might be, how's your family unit looking right now? Is it a family unit? Do you consider yourself to be all equal under the same roof? All equal in the rules and the laws? Because the rules do apply. Don't start smacking your children down. I don't mean physically, but you shouldn't do that anyway. But don't go putting your children down and saying, don't do this and don't do that, and denying them a lie and denying them a sweet and sending them to bed early. No, full well that you're going to go out and do things you shouldn't do, that you certainly wouldn't want your children to find out about, and could even risk breaking the law. I mean, that's hypocrisy. That's us hypocrisy. When my daughter came here, regardless how old she was, she got that remote control to that television all the time she was here. Never got bedtime. Never, ever, ever, ever sent her to bed. Ever. Never. And she got to eat whatever she wanted. The food and the drink, if she came here, even if I'd bought that stuff that day or the day before, hers had to be fresh out of the shop the moment she got it, even if it was going to go to waste. It was fresh. I wouldn't let her drink 24-hour milk or eat 24-hour bread. It had to be fresh. It had to be bought specifically for her. I'm not saying everybody's got the money for that. I'm not rich at all. But I had the money to do it. Because that's how I decided. I learned the 3 sons, even though they've been told things that aren't true. It's incredible. But I decided that she was the only child I had, make the most of it. No rules. I've never laid down a rule. She never gave me a reason. My daughter was so fearful of upsetting me because of the relationship we had, she actually never gave me a reason to ever discipline her. Whatever went on at home was between her mum. That's between them two. Her mum would deal with it any way she wants. Sometimes she'd contact me. But when she came here, she knew what she had here. She knew what she had here. So she never gave me a reason. Never gave me a reason. I told her once she was here, she had a backpack on. She was coming past the table. I said, be careful with that backpack. Don't knock that drink over. I didn't move the drink because I wanted to see if she'd be careful. I went out. A friend of mine said, oh, I came in. She knocked it over the backpack, her face. And I said to her, I told you. I said, next time be more careful, sweetheart. And I said, you've learned? She went, yes. Do you know why I didn't have a go at her? Because it was the very first time ever that she'd ever done anything like that. Did that warrant being having a go at her? Did it warrant shouting? First time ever. No, it didn't. It didn't deserve it and it didn't want it and I didn't do it. She made a mistake. I'm an adult. I'm going to mess up more than her. Because who do I answer to? So, this is part 1. I'll probably do a part 2 when I come with more substance, but you don't want this to be too long. So are you a family unit? Are you together? Are you supporting one another? Do you exist for one another? Does everybody outside know that you exist for one another and know and true that outside is allowed to come in and bad mouth any one of you? Even if there's an issue, you take it to one another. Whatever goes on inside your house, with exceptional circumstances, okay, whatever goes on is between you. Don't go gossiping to other people, don't get them involved, don't look to them for solutions, because in the end, when you make up with your partner, you've led them to insult them. You could have very easily have caused them trouble. Do you want to be responsible for your partner's upset? Do you want to be responsible for your partner getting abuse and grief in the street and called names and slagged off? And all over the internet now, because it all gets put on the internet, and YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and all that absolute evil garbage. Do you want to be responsible for that? Because in the end you will be. But once you've fixed it, and then your partner goes on TikTok and sees something bad written about them, they know it could only have come from you, and that wound will just open right back up again, and any resolvement that you made is just gone despairing. So whatever you do with what I do is up to you. But I know you heard sense in what I said. I know you heard sense in what I said. Family unit, what is that? What is that? I don't know. It's what every individual decides it to be, because you're all in your own homes, you all decide how you want to be. So, family unit, what's your family unit consist of? What is it? I don't know. Mine is on my own at all times, no guests, no visitors, no calls, no messages, zero, nothing from anybody at any given time, ever, ever. I've got 3 phone numbers, 2 of them are mine, one's my daughter. So, it is what it is. I do love you, that's why I do this. One day I'll tell you about my other channel, okay, and we'll see where we go from there, but I've got to get you used to me here. Because the first thing I want to do is for you to think to yourself on this channel, wow, this guy does know what he's talking about. He says things completely different ways, but why? Why and how? And then I can progress to telling you about the next one. So this is just a little journey leading to more than one road. Take it easy, guys. All right, I know probably nobody's going to watch this, but what you do with what I do is up to you. I just want to read something out for you, okay? This is up to you. These are my own words, and I'm probably going to be putting this at the end of every video. All right? These are my own words. Sometimes I'll put this as an individual, as a person, but this time I'm probably going to apply it to you as an individual, as a person, but also as a family unit. It's very, very short. Just wait for me to get there. Very, very short. Let me find it, my friends. Let me find it. Where? There it is. Right, okay? Right. Never be afraid to stand out. The following are my own words, but do they apply to you as an individual and a family unit? A single rose will never go unnoticed. It does not blend in within a group of its kind. When you look upon it, you offer that one and one alone your full focus and appreciation towards its beauty. But no rose that sits among its kind will ever be appreciated as an original. So when people look at your family unit as an individual, they look at you and they admire you for what you have and what you've got. An individual that's got something going on that other houses don't have and other family units don't have. When they see you as an individual, do they see that? Do they see that? I don't know. I don't know. So, I do love you. Take it easy, guys. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, because that's what we're here for. Bye-bye.